The woman was playing a game with her boss when suddenly there was a knock at the door. Before the door opened, the woman quickly hid under the desk. The person at the door turned out to be her husband. The boss asked him what he wanted, and Nick replied that he was looking for his wife because a colleague had mentioned seeing Lisa enter the office. However, there was no sign of his wife here, and he thought his colleague must have been mistaken. After saying this, he left. Seeing this, Lisa breathed a sigh of relief. Just as the two were about to start again, there was another knock at the door. Lisa had no choice but to hide once more. It was Nick again. He had some work matters to report to the boss and began moving closer to Lisa's hiding spot. The boss, alarmed, immediately blocked his path. In an effort to quickly send Nick away, he praised Nick's work highly, saying that he could make decisions on his own without needing approval. Hearing this, Nick was delighted. However, as he was leaving the office, he coincidentally saw his wife's hairpin. Although he now suspected that his wife had likely betrayed him, the timid Nick didn't dare to inquire further. He simply asked his wife where she had been today. Unexpectedly, his wife flew into a rage, throwing the tableware. Seeing this, Nick could only apologize repeatedly. His wife then said she needed a break and would go to Philadelphia to visit her mother next week. With that, she left without looking back. Nick initially believed his wife was indeed going to Philadelphia to visit her mother, until during a company meeting, the boss inadvertently mentioned that he would be going to Philadelphia for a vacation next week. This made Nick certain that his wife was not going to visit her mother but was instead going on a date with his boss. At this thought, Nick could no longer contain himself. He openly stated in front of the senior boss that George had not participated in the design of the project and that he had completed the project entirely on his own. Expecting the senior boss to fire George, Nick was surprised when she instead praised him for being very smart and capable, but noted that there is a difference between formulating strategy and executing it. She described George as a true predator and suggested that Nick should be a strong ally to George. Hearing this, Nick understood. He immediately handed George a resignation letter on the spot, stating that he would go to another company and use his professional knowledge and skills to personally defeat this company. Hearing this, George sneered, but the senior boss applauded Nick. It turned out she had been waiting for Nick to show his fangs, as only then would he be worthy of being the company's boss. The senior boss immediately fired George, and Nick took his place. After Nick became the boss, his wife's attitude changed. She actively approached Nick in his office, expressing her deep love for him and willingness to do anything for him. After saying this, she knelt directly in front of Nick's chair. However, Nick simply handed her a divorce agreement.
Jim, I'm sorry.
God forgives. I don't.